Alright, here is how to make 3D things in Visual Basic.net, and here is the example program that I'll be teaching you how to make. This is just basically a pyramid that rotates up and down and left and right. It's really sweet, and it's really pretty simple. It uses OpenGL. Now, OpenGL is one of the things your computer's like built in with to understand 3D graphics, and you might have heard of Direct3D as well. But this is the OpenGL stuff. Now, OpenGL and Direct3D are not meant to be used with Visual Basic. So what we need is the equivalent to allow us to work with OpenGL through the Visual Basic.net environment. So real quickly, we go to OpenTK.com, real simple. TK stands, I believe they stand for Toolkit. And so we hit download OpenTK. That'll download into usually wherever you download stuff to. And when you'll run this setup.exe. Now the setup.exe will usually want to extract to your user's documents OpenTK stuff. So once you download this, run the installer, then yes, because I already have this installed. It dumps right here. So OpenTK underneath my documents. So my documents, OpenTK 1.0. Now the stuff I care about is in the binaries, OpenTK, release, and here it is. And it's really this file and this file that I care about. So, starting from scratch, let's make this thing. Now, here is a blank, totally blank program. Well, let's expand this guy up a bit. And first thing we're going to do is add the OpenTK 3D stuff. So we're going to go to Object Browser, and we're going to, well, this should not all be in there, so let me remove all this stuff. Remove, okay. And we go to the Browse section, drop down to, let's see here, where is my documents at? Windows 7 is really cool, but really different than the XP that I'm used to. Anyways, I'm under my documents now. Go to the OpenTK 1.0 binaries, OpenTK release, and these two guys. So select these both, add them, and hit OK. Now this adds the OpenTK stuff right here. Now there's a lot of crap here. What we only care about is the OpenTK. So we will click this button to add reference, and this is entirely important to do. You cannot skip this step. So now it is added to our project. That's good there. Now this is another entirely important step you need to do. You need to go to the install folder, select the control and the TK DLLs, click and drag them down to Visual Basic and into Visual Basic. Come on now. There we are. Now we're still dragging, and we drop them right there into the application. Now it drops them right here into the Solution Explorer. If you don't have Solution Explorer, you can grab it right here, Control-Alt-L. You should already have it though. So now we have these two things in our project. However, they will not run with the project up and until, and this is also entirely important, you click on here and come down here to its properties and copy to output. You want to select copy if newer. And go to the same thing with the control, copy to output, copy if newer. This will put these into your program so that these can be referenced when your program is running. Without these, your program will not run. Okay, now to get the box that goes right here, that's a control piece, like radio buttons or text boxes or any of the stuff here in the side over here. Now you'll notice there is no OpenGL box. We need to add that. To add that, we can just right click on the top here where it says all Windows forms, or really in any of these, and we want to choose items. So here we have all the stuff we can add. You'll find some other cool stuff in here, like data pager, data list, data view, a whole bunch of stuff. There's a ton of it. But we need to add our OpenGL control box. So we're going to go to Browse, and under the same folder, the My Documents, OpenTK 1.0 binaries, OpenTK release, the control itself. So there we are. Hit open, It dumps it right there. We want to, yes, add it with the checkbox and hit OK. And that will dump right down into the general spot, OpenGL control, or the GL control. I'm going to click, drag, and drop. Let's make this much bigger. And there is our window for our 3D area. Now, that's really the hard part. The next thing I'm going to do is just add some numeric up and down things. There we are. Numeric up, down, drop one there. And then numeric up, down, drop one there. Alright. So the first thing we want to do is view the code. You can right click on your box anywhere and view code. Also double clicking things allows you to view code. So taking from our example program here, I will explain all these pieces I'm grabbing. First thing I'm going to grab is the imports. Imports are necessary because they tell our program what we're talking about, else our program has no idea what we're talking about. Now, the next piece we're going to want to add is the load for the control piece that we've added, the OpenGL control. Now, this event right here, we can't really tell anything to happen to the control piece until it's been loaded. So usually you can set up like a let's just say a boolean. So dim loaded as boolean equals true, or no, false. We want this to equal false first, and then once it is loaded, we can say loaded equals true. And so therefore, in a later event, we don't do anything to the control until loaded is true, because we don't want anything to happen, else this thing won't work. It'll just fail. The next thing we want to do is we want to make little events for our numeric up and downs here. Now, the numeric up and downs will condition the OpenGL control box to refresh itself. To refresh, because if you make a change to the OpenGL control box, it will not just show up. You have to actually do what's called a glcontrol1.invalidate. And invalidate will cause it to rethink itself. It'll cause it to call up the, wait for it, paint event. Okay, confused yet? Good. So, forgetting about these numeric up and downs for the time being, just get these out the way. The control paint is where all the major magic is going to happen. Now there's one more thing I want to put in the control load real quick before we forget about it. And that's just simply the back color. So I'm going to grab the back color here, dump that in here. Okay, back color. So now finally, let's get to the magic of this. I'm going to grab all this junk here and I will explain to you what each piece is. Dump. Okay. The magic here is when the control invalidates and refreshes itself. It calls up this paint section here. Now, first thing we want to do is clear the buffers of the color buffer and the depth buffer. So we want to clear those. And I don't know exactly what those do, but I know they're necessary. I think it just causes it to refresh better. I'm just making stuff up now. Now, the setup for the camera. This is all the camera setup right here. And it's not too entirely difficult. The first thing we're doing is we're creating a perspective. And the perspective is as you would see any normal kind of 3D environment where it has, you know, a camera field of view and it's all kind of, you know, fisheye towards you. Now, you can click on this thing here and it'll give you, you know, FOVY as single, aspect, Z near, Z far. So all that is, you know, relevant to this thing. Now there's some great help online. The OpenTK.com website is a great resource, and really Google and looking for any OpenGL thing by itself will pretty much give you the answer you're looking for OpenTK, because OpenTK is really just a gateway through .NET environment into OpenGL stuff. So everything you can find, you can probably find just as easily if you search for OpenGL versus OpenTK. Next thing we're going to do is set up the camera itself. We are setting right here the camera, or the eye if you will, its location. And then these three are the spot that we're looking at, and then this defines the up direction, which in this case is y, x, y, z. So putting a 1 there denotes y. This right here, these three lines, load the perspective in. The next three lines load the camera in. Now the viewport describes to the OpenGL environment, the XY, what's the word I'm looking for? The XY area that we're looking through at the 3D object. This is pretty simple. As long as you just put the width and the height in 0, 0, you're pretty much good to go with that. The next thing is the depth test and the depth function are both needed so that the faces draw correctly. If this isn't in there, they don't draw correctly. Alright, now rotating is just simple. gl.rotate, and then my numeric up and down counters, and then the axis in which they rotate. This one's rotating axis Z, and this one's rotating axis Y. Pretty simple. Then we draw our triangle. The triangle has to begin with a mode type. Now there's a whole bunch of different types of modes in here. We got triangles. You can draw a line, line loops, line strips, points, polygons, quads, triangle fans, all sorts of good stuff. I just want triangles because I set this up to be 4 separate triangles. Face 1, I can denote a color, and the color is a standard kind of drawing graphics color, so that's real nice and simple. You can also put in like a an ARGB value or RGB value, what have you. And then here, the vertex 3 is where you define the point. So I have my left point, my right point, and my upper point gives me a triangle. And so I draw 4 of these triangles with varying colors. You can see that the color red here goes to the point right beneath it. The white denotes the point beneath it. Once we've drawn all these points, the GL end right here ends the begin mode. So if then I want to start drawing points next, I would have to put the end before the next begin mode, and then an end at the end of the points as well. That makes sense, I guess. And then finally, we want to turn on the Vsync. This caps the frame rates at what your computer deems as decent, as to not overrun the GPU, or else you will hear your computer go nuts. All its fans turning on is because it's using the GPU so hard. And then finally, you notice all these blue GL dots here. GL dot whatever is actually loading into the OpenGL environment, but that swaps with the GL control here. So without this, the GL control just sits there stupidly with the stupid look on its face. Swapping the buffers takes the GL buffer and puts into the GL control. Alright, let's see if this worked. Hot dog, that worked. So now, there we are. I'm moving the up and down, which is invalidating the control. So the control refreshes and then redraws. And with the new numbers, it changes the rotation. Now, my rotation here is only up to 100. So, you can adjust the maximum here if you wanted to. But you can kind of see the perspective going on as well. As this turns, I can't really see it there either. Okay. Here we are. I should be able to see it now. Oh well, perspective. Anyways, that's real simple. You can also choose to do like, if you click on the OpenGL control, then you can make it move just by mouse movements, which is normally how a 3D program works. Alright, have fun with that.